We're ready to go. Monday evening. Haven't done one on a Monday in a while. Let's go. Let's get a few people in the building. I came prepared, people. I got the cranberry juice. But just make sure you check whatever you drink. You never know what could be contaminated. At least according to Conor Ben. With eggs. Okay. But anyway, let's talk about Tyson Fury and True Geordie. You know, people were telling me about that, I think, yesterday evening. I think it was yesterday at some point people were mentioning. I just want to move that real quick a little bit. There we go. They were telling me about the True Geordie podcast. Now, obviously, I know who True Geordie is, but they were telling me to go and have a listen to it. That Tyson Fury, from what they were seeing, seemed really rattled in the interview. And True Geordie was asking him the questions that we wish others would ask him. And I was like, to be honest with you, I know who True Geordie is, of course. But I was thinking, like, I've never really been a fan of True Geordie. Nothing against him personally, but just, I've never really been the biggest fan. But when I saw the end of it, originally, where Fury was basically snapping at him. And I was looking at that and I was like, I got to listen to this interview. I listened to the full interview. And as I said in the video, I mean, I got to, give True Geordie big props. Because I thought he was very respectful the whole way through. And I thought he asked very good questions. He kept reiterating how much he admired Tyson Fury, how good a fighter Tyson Fury was. So it wasn't like he was coming at Tyson Fury in a malice kind of way. He was trying to provoke a response from Tyson Fury. It was nothing like that. He was asking some very, very good questions. And Fury, do I want to say he was maybe not expecting it? I think maybe he was expecting to answer some of them questions. And then just kind of, True Geordie or someone like that just kind of, oh yeah, that's fine, and then move on, if you know what I mean. Not necessarily go back and forth, just kind of trying to, just, here's the reason why I'm fighting Chisora. Okay, that's fine. Now moving swiftly on. I don't think he was expecting True Geordie to follow up and say, no, actually, why is this and why is that? So great work by True Geordie. And by the way, I just seen Jamie, big up to Jamie. Salute to you, my man. I hope you're keeping well. I hope you had a good time away, mate. Hope everything is good. And yes, if everyone could sub to Joe Stunner. So I put that in the pinned comments. So I was watching Joe's video. He was talking about the situation with True Geordie. And me and him are in agreement with the whole situation. That True Geordie did a very good interview. And I just clicked on it and happened to notice he's only 15 subs off 1,000. And I think, I'll tell you, because I still have the picture on my phone of the day I hit 1,000. I don't think it was this October 31st, but it was sometime in October. When was it? See if I have it here. I can bring it up. But not bring it up, but you know what I mean. Do I still have it? I don't think I do, actually. Crap. I don't think I do. But it was around about this time. It was around about the end of October in 2019 when I got my first 1,000 subs. So I know how that feels. And I know it's a great feeling when you do hit it. Especially when you start getting monetized. It's fucking brilliant. So I pinned that there in the chat. So he's 15 off 1,000 subs. If you can go over to Joe Stunner box and give him a look, give him a sub. Let's get him up to 1,000. Come on, let's just do it. Let's get Joe Stunner up to the magical 1K. 1,000 subs. Hopefully by the end of this evening, my guy can be on 1,000 subs. Because that's an achievement. That's a milestone. I think we all know. Me, Jamie, you know as well. We're kind of looking at, Jamie's looking at 5K. I know he's dying to get to 5K. And me, like, every single time I look at that sub count, I'm just like, I'm like this close, 10K. It's like, Jesus Christ. When I hit that 10K, what will I do? I'm going to actually probably pop open a beer or something when I hit that 10K. Because I'll be just like, there's an achievement ticks. There's an achievement ticked. Big up to Tet Lee. Hello, fellas. Evening to all. 46 in the building. Smash the like button on the way in. What's good, G-man? I'm all good, mate. It's bank holiday here today. So, it was good. It was pretty simple. I played golf yesterday, went to the gym today, and I'm off again tomorrow. I start that new job on Wednesday. So, yeah, it's just kind of, it's been good. It's been good. Bank holiday. It's always a bank holiday at the end of October in Ireland. And And then there's no more bank holidays until, I think, the middle of February. But True Geordie turned an interview to promote a fight into a debate show. I don't think he intended to do that. I think that genuinely True Geordie just wasn't happy with the responses, as none of us really were. You know, you can't justify, like, put it like this. I won't be doing any watch-alongs for Chisora versus Fury 3. Because one reason is because I've always said whenever I'm watching a fight on a you know what, begins with an S, I don't like doing watch-alongs because they can chop, and I don't want to be missing bits and this, that, and the other. Now, you could say, gee, you could pay for it and it wouldn't happen. You could do a watch-along like that. Yeah, but paying for a fight that I know is a complete mismatch, I'm not paying for that. These questions had to be asked. I have a new respect for True Geordie. I've subbed to his channel. Yeah, no, big up to him. Like I said, I've never really been the biggest fan, but that was fantastic to listen to. And when you were listening to it, I was listening to it and I was like, the contradictions from Fury are real. I was listening to that and I was just like, what are you talking about? When he brought up the Usyk and Joyce not being in his era, I was like, what are you talking about, mate? Like, honestly, like, what? See, that's what happens when you're interviewed by someone who, like, True Geordie, he doesn't rely on Tyson Fury and people like that, Frank Warren and all that, to make his income. So he can ask the hard questions. As I said in my video, when you're dealing with, like, you know, and this is not a knock on any of them, but when it's like ID Boxing or, you know, IFL, Seconds Out, MJP, they need to be in the good books with these interviewers. You know, they need to. So they always kind of toe the limit because they need to be invited back. They need to get these guys for one-to-one interviews, for Zoom interviews, etc. Because that's their bread and butter. They're making a living from that. Whereas True Geordie can have one Tyson Fury interview and he can never interview him again. It's like, okay, the world's not going to stop for me. You know, I've got 2 million subscribers. I don't need to worry about not being able to interview Tyson Fury again. It's no skin off his nose. Yeah, it was. Looked like he was drunk. He looked pretty peeved off even before. Because bear in mind, the interview starts off with him just saying, what did you see KSI's last fight? So it's not like True Geordie started the podcast or the interview and was like, being disrespectful or anything like that. He literally just started it off with just the generic kind of, oh, did you see KSI's latest fight? He mentioned Tommy Fury, didn't he? And then brought Conor Benn into the equation. And that was it. It wasn't like he went in, it was like, fighting Chisora, that's not good enough. And just Fury just didn't look nice, just didn't look happy at all. The reason Tyson came into the interview already annoyed is because True Geordie picked KSI to beat Tommy and insulted Tommy. But why should that have any implication on how you view a person? Like, I mean, I remember Carl Frampton picking Jake Paul to beat Tommy Fury. And I think Jake Paul would beat Tommy Fury, to be honest with you. And John Fury confronting them. It's like, just be, like, you could know someone, you could be mates with someone, but no matter how good a mate you are, they have to say it like they see it. And Carl Frampton did that with Jake Paul, and John Fury, you know, got peeved off about it. I've not watched KSI as much as I've watched Jake Paul, but I've watched enough of Tommy Fury to know that he's garbage, and they need to be careful with him because it might not be Jake Paul or KSI. It could be, you know, Jack Fuckistan from God knows where, who turns him over. Punch Perfect in the house. Back in the days before woke era, when you had mental issues, which was a rare thing, you would deal with it and control it. Now they're using it as an excuse to be narcissistic and a big tit. Spot on. Speaking facts there, mate. Not going to talk too much about that, but speaking facts. Big up G-Man. I'm driving one of my sons, so we'll join the playback gang. Big up the chat. Smash the like button on the way in. Support the channel 100%. Thank you, my man. I hope you're all good. Yes, big up 67 in the building. Smash the old like button. Let's get it going. You need to be more active on Twitter to get more subs. Yeah, I'll stick to boxing tweets. Joe Stunner is a legend. 3 bank holidays at Christmas. Yes. 3 bank holidays at Christmas. Fury was gurning his top off. I'm not saying the questions weren't legit, But at the end of the day, if you're interviewing someone and the questions aren't satisfactory, surely you have to counter that. I mean, like, at the end of the day, if you're interviewing someone like True Geordie was, and he basically, like, I would have brought up the fact, and it's just me, but when he brought up the fact that the fans want, he was like, the fans want to see, would they be complaining if they saw a Wilder Fort fight? The Wilder trilogy worked. Well, the Wilder trilogy worked because you were ordered by court to fight him. You weren't ordered to fight Derek Chisora. There's so many better people in the top 15 of WBC rankings who are more deserving of a title shot. As True Geordie said, he's lost 50% of his last 15 fights. At the end of the day, I don't think any of us, if we're watching this, I think we could all say, hand on heart, that if this was a non-title fight and it was on standard BT, none of us would have an issue. I wouldn't. None of us would have an issue. But it's not that. It's a pay-per-view. And at the end of the day, you look at fuel prices, look at the cost of everything. Everything is going up. I went out last Thursday with my friend for a drink, and I couldn't believe it. It was like £7 for a beer. It's like, Jesus Christ, what is happening? And, you're expecting people to go and pay £20, £25 to see it on paper, a mismatch. A few super chats in there, so I'll give them a read. Shout out from North London. It would be great to see you here over again doing interviews. Thanks for the great content over the years. Big up, Sick Boy. Big up to you, man. Great name. Great name. That's actually a great name. Give you a big up for that, man. That's a good one. I appreciate the £5. Hopefully in the new year, mate. I can't see me doing anything this side of Christmas, so hopefully in the new year. Big up to Joe Stunner Boxing for the £10. I appreciate that, my man. I appreciate that. And Joe Stunner also says, hello, G-Man. Appreciate the support as always, man. It's 100%. As I said, it should be at the top, but I don't think I can click on it now. If you haven't already seen, I have Joe's channel pinned at the top. He's only a few subs. You're only a few subs, mate, off 1,000. I think you're nearly at 1,000. So if everyone who's listening could just even pop over, Joe Stunner Boxing. I've listened to some of the videos. I was listening to Joe's video on this situation as well before coming live, and he was spot on as well. Because True Geordie has been telling the truth about Fury's hypocrisy. Fury has met him before, so he assumed he would be a psychopath. Okay. Oh, sycophant. Read that wrong. Did you watch the interview piece where he said John doesn't let Tyson take risks? That's why he's... No, I didn't. Which channel is that on? Big Long Dong. Great name. Big Long Dong. What channel is that on? Fury store on pay-per-view needs to be boycotted or else nothing will change. Well, I'm not going to be paying for it. I'm happy True Geordie put it on Fury. Fury is a con man. I love him in the ring, but he's delusional in every other aspect. And I think that's the thing we need to point out. And it's a thing that True Geordie did very well. Is that I don't think any of us could criticize Tyson Fury unless someone just doesn't like him for whatever reason, in every aspect. You keep it objective and you look at things in every aspect. Tyson Fury as a fighter is tremendous. He's tremendously talented. To come back from being as overweight as he was, the alcohol abuse and everything, to come back from that to not really lose a step, really, when you think about it. Now, you can say Tyson Fury was young enough to get away with it, yeah, but putting that kind of strain on the body and then to lose it all, or to still look pretty damn good, that to me is impressive. He's definitely got he's tremendous heart, tremendously strong-willed in the ring, tremendously talented, in a lot of ways. So Fury as a fighter, I don't think anyone can criticize him in terms of ability, in terms of courage when he's in there on fight night. But outside the ring, every other thing, I mean, his stories at this stage, when he talks about this, that, and the other, he's more holes in them stories than Swiss cheese. The reaching he's trying to do when it comes to exaggerating this and exaggerating that. I mean, Elastic doesn't even stretch that far. Big up, G-Man. How's the new job in boots with tie and boot? Ain't boots, man. Don't worry about that. Ain't in boots. Don't think I'd ever do that. Fury's on the brink of another breakdown on stuff at Parker Joyce, and the public and the media are starting to turn on him. I think Chisora fight will be his last. That's a shout from Stephen there. Okay, let's see. Tyson Fury's legacy is a joke. Yeah, I was kind of scratching my head when he said he'd be the first champion to win or to have 2 trilogy fights whilst during his era. Because I was thinking to me, I was like, Muhammad Ali did that. The only thing I'm thinking of is unless he means something different, like I think Atman mentioned him going through them undefeated. Maybe he meant that because I was even scratching. I was like, didn't Ali do that? I was like, Ali literally did that in his run. Watch it. Oh, that's reaching. They wouldn't do that, mate. They wouldn't do that. Can you think of a bigger, quicker fall from grace than the Benz? That's a good question. From where he is or where he was going into it to now I'm struggling. Something will come to me, but I can think of some falls from graces of like talent that was seen as going places. Yeah, I can see that, but I'm struggling to think of anyone else. Like that level. Fury's used to sycophants, and he didn't get that with True Geordie. Fury's reaction was infantile and embarrassing. And there was an element of truth. Like some people could say he was only taking the you-know-what, but I think there was an element of truth in a lot of what he was saying. That you're not going to get to interview me again and stuff like that. And I don't think it's just Tyson Fury. I think that there's a hell of a lot of fighters and managers and promoters who would do the same in Fury's situation. And again, when I was looking at that, I was thinking that's probably one of the reasons why you see promoters, trainers, some managers almost get treated with kid gloves in interviews. If they do ask a tough question, they'll normally take the response and go with that and move on rather than try and have a debate or, try and have hang on a second, you said this, but in one sense you said this, I mean, could you imagine going to the show last weekend, the DAZN show? Imagine I'd have been there. Not saying I was going to go, I wasn't, but if I'd have gone and I'd have asked Eddie Hearn about the Conor Benn situation, I would have said, how come, with Dylan White's situation, it was, I think UCAD, but you were saying at the time that it was VADA were the guys who, need to come through the test and what happened with the B sample. If you had said that, you'll never get media credentials to another Matchroom show. I don't think anyway. So I can kind of see why people like, MJP and ID Boxing don't really go too far there. Seen videos of True Geordie talking about Tommy Fury. He didn't really insult him. He just doesn't rate him as a fighter, just like most of us don't rate Tommy. Yeah, well, I don't rate Tommy Fury as a fighter. I think he's garbage. I think he's absolutely... Tommy Fury is living off Love Island and living off his brother. That's all he's doing. In terms of a fighter, he's garbage. As I said, you be careful with him because someone will turn him over who they don't want to, who they don't expect. PF is always up in AJ's backside. Looks like he would like to train him. Peter Fury, I think that will be the last straw with Fury and Tyson, if that was the case, Peter Fury and Tyson. Because Geordie made inappropriate comments about Paris a couple of years ago. Oh, did he? I think you might be right. How the hell did it sell 50,000 tickets already? Who the hell is dumb to believe this is a genuine fight? Oh, I'm sure there's a lot out there who would, to be fair, but I wonder how many of them are being sold on the second-hand market. I can't wait to see Usyk schooling Fury's past his best, but won't realise it by beating up Chisora. I'm sure Usyk will win that fight, and I can't wait to see the fans melt down. I think Fury beats Usyk, just in my opinion. Predictions, please. Fury Chisora. Fury round 6. Crawford round 8. Video to come out tomorrow or Wednesday on that one. Harlem points. I might just go with Lopez. I don't trust Josh Warrington. Sonny Edwards on points. Mayweather. Yard. Progress. Points. White stoppage and Wadley stoppage. So here we are, lad, psychoanalyzing a verbal conversation between Tyson Fury and True Geordie. Desperate stuff all together. It's boxing news, mate. It's a boxing channel. That's what we talk about. Fury is a con man, David Hay 3.0. 50,000 tickets sold because huge blocks were sold to StubHub, the same StubHub that Warren was lambasting Hearn for a couple of years ago. Spot on. And he did. He went in on Eddie Hearn for StubHub. And hit the ball. Were a few of his shows sponsored by StubHub, Frank Warren's? Fury's not stupid, quite the contrary. If the people around him told him to stop ruining his image, I'm sure he would understand it. So what's the problem? Nobody looking out for him. Very strange. American, I would not be surprised at all if it was pay-per-view. And you guys get charged through the absolute you-know-what over there. Fury meant 2 trilogies but no losses in them. He wants that legacy but doesn't care about legacy. That's what I was going to say as well. Like, he kept saying, I don't care about legacy, but I want that. He wants that legacy. It's like, what? Oh, yeah, that's going to be funny. That's going to be funny. Trying to find the Peter Fury interview, mate, but I think it makes sense. I think Joshua would give him serious problems if he lands. Peter Fury and Joshua training, I mean, that would be a very, very good match, yes, but there's no way Peter Fury would do it. If Fury is not in Usyk's era, why did he fight Otto Berlin? Usyk and Berlin went pro the same year. Yeah, same year as Joshua. You know, we said Joshua was in his era, but Usyk isn't. They literally went pro at the same time. You know, I don't understand how we can come up with that statement. You know, I really don't. Like, how in God's name can you say that Joshua's in your era, but Usyk isn't, when they literally turned pro? I think Joshua turned pro slightly before Usyk, but you're talking a couple of months, if even. Oh, yeah. I think he had Eddie Hearn on only recently, but I don't think he went in too hard on Eddie Hearn. You'd think Fury would sell out stadiums like Tottenham Hotspur with Hunter, Hrgovic, Zhang. Good chance he probably would, or come close to anyway. I'd love to see him fight Hunter. See, Fury has a big fan base, massive fan base. You have to remember that. Fat chance of that happening. If you watch Fury enough over the years, you would know at the start of the interview what mood he's in. That was just a bad day. Time and catch him on another day, he would be bantering with True G. Fury and Mayweather tops it as boxing biggest narcissist. Yeah, I don't think he's area level. I think he's garbage, but he's not improved. He's not improved an iota since he turned pro. Bipolar at its finest. What's up, G-Man? Geordie has spoke about John Fury a few times negatively. Right. StubHub. Suit the G-Man. Fury being a rude D at the end, showing him as a mental health advocate and Christian. Also, G, you doing any videos covering the lightweight unification fights tomorrow? I'll watch them, yeah. We'll see, definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing Ken Shiro. Looking forward to that one. We'll talk about them definitely on Midweek Report on Wednesday. Fury calls AJ bodybuilder, but Fury is a wannabe bodybuilder. That's why he topped the nandrolone to build muscle. Complete joke. You think they would do open scoreline to be transparent and rigging going on? I don't like that, though. They do that in some shows in Spain. I don't really like it. Yeah, again, I don't really like the open scoring, to be honest. He was taking and Joyce are older than Fury. How anyone takes him serious beyond me. They're probably on their the foghorn, leghorn, boy I say boy. Hi G-Man, what's your prediction for... Oh yeah, I think me and you literally have it set 6 rounds. Chisora is a household name in the UK and not a foreign. Fury says, but okay to fight Schwartz and Berlin. Yeah, I mean, like, I think I'd heard of Schwartz, but I had never, ever heard of Berlin before he fought him. I'd heard of Schwartz, and I hadn't heard good things about him. But when he said he was fighting Otto Berlin, I don't think I'd ever ever heard of Alina. Or if I did, I probably only heard the name mentioned briefly. But yeah, and he was happy to be. Wasn't Schwartz on pay-per-view? I'm nearly sure that was on pay-per-view. I think Tyson meant that when he was champ, Joyce and Usyk were not achieving much. When he was champ, Usyk was champ. You know, when he won his title, Usyk it was what, less than a year, and he was already champion at cruiserweight. However, irrelevant now because they are in his era now and achieving. I think True Joyce, I think True Geordie wins in a bar fight. You think Tyson Fury is a con man? I think that he just gaslights the public, just barefaced lies through his teeth and contradicts himself. I think he's a great fighter, but God almighty, he makes it hard to like him sometimes. If they did across the pond tournament, which fighter do you think will win, or which fight will win? Would you pick to fight US, UK in each division? US, UK. Heavyweight, you'd go with Tyson Fury, and then you'd go with Deontay Wilder. Cruiserweight, I would go with, Jesus, there's not much of a, I'd go with Richard Riakporhe because, Lawrence Okoli, if he can still do Cruiserweight. Do the US even have, like, if Michael Hunter could get down to Cruiserweight, then yeah, maybe him. Terms of light heavy, Yard, UK. Joe Smith, US. Caleb Plant at 160. Yeah, Caleb Plant at 168. And at 168 in the UK. Who would I take at 168 in the UK? Do we have any good super middleweights in the UK? If they do, John Ryder maybe. Or Zach Parker. Again, I think the US is winning most of these, to be honest with you. I really do. I remember Tommy saying he was going to be world champion, too busy simping for his bird. Jake Paul would batter him. What do you make of TG4 showing boxing? Will RTE get back into boxing? The last show was Willie Casey versus Rigondeaux in 2011. I remember that show. I remember watching that show, actually. Yeah, Rigondeaux knocked him out in the round. Used to show all burner done fights. Good to see Irish boxing again. Yeah, TG4 are doing actually quite a bit of boxing now, and they've got a decent broadcast team. Like, they have a decent punter show. I don't know who the broadcasters are. I never heard of them. Problem with TG4 is, if you're a pundit, you're okay. But if you're doing any broadcasting work, you need to speak fluent Irish. Obviously, I don't speak a word of Irish. I never did it in school. So that's me well and truly F for that. In terms of what they do, like, they get Mick Conlon on, they get Jay Quigley, they get Paddy Donovan. Paddy Donovan's a great pundit. He's a great pundit. Really like Paddy Donovan as a pundit. He's very good. RTE, I can't stand RTE. And their commentary team, I remember, was never the best for boxing. They'll probably change it up now, but God knows who they'd get now if they did. Can't see RTE going near it, to be honest with you. I'll just be frank with that. I can't see RTE going near boxing. Just wouldn't. I don't think it just wouldn't fit them, I don't think. Finally, someone with the balls to ask questions that Fury sycophants like Davis are too petrified to ask. This was liquid gold. No liquid courage from Brian. He had Fury on some tantrum. Fury will swerve Usyk. He knows he'll get schooled by him. I don't think he will. I think he'll fight Usyk. Which attribute would you take from each boxer to make the complete pound-for-pound boxer? Current boxer now, or all-time? If you're talking about current, Wilder's power, Triple G's chin, Joyce's engine, Bivol's ring IQ, Lomachenko's footwork, It's a good question. I'm trying to think. I would get Crawford's ring generalship. He's great ring general. He's got great awareness in the ring. I'd take Devin Haney's distance control and defense. Also take Triple G's jab. I would take this is going to sound weird, but I would take Kiko Martinez's will. Because I don't know if you'll find a fighter like him nowadays, a throwback fighter who just has the will to win. And put him together, he'd be something else. The sooner Tommy is in a real fight, the better we could end this circus. When Tyson retires, that's when the name retires. Hatman said Ken Norton and Ali already had 2 trilogies, so that's Fury's legacy debunked. Who did Ken Norton have the trilogies with? I'm trying to think. Ken Norton. Who did he have 2 trilogies with? I know he had the Ali trilogies, but who else did he fight? Favorite Hatman podcast on Patreon? Oh, there's so many of them, mate. I love his situation reports. I like listening to them because it's a good little snippet. I think probably he done a podcast back in... There's 2 podcasts he done this year that are probably up there with some of my favorites. He done one on Mark Dutroux, which was just brilliant. I love the Jim Will Fix It podcast. Actually, that was a real good one. That was like, I think he had 4 hours on that one. That was brilliant. The Jim Will Fix It. And he done those kind of, I think it's called pep talk. He done it in like May or June, just gone, where you need motivation, you'll get motivation. They're some of my favorites. I'm considering it, mate. It depends what kind of, how we are on Saturday night. I should be here, but I'm watching the fight regardless. I mean, like, I'll review the fight straight after, of course. G-Man, why do you think Fury lies and contradicts so much? Is it for views and attention? Is he struggling mentally? Or is he really disillusional? I think he's just one of these guys who exaggerates things. Maybe he's one of these guys who, when he has a camera in front of him, he tries to make himself sound better than he actually is. And he's obviously one of these guys who's just not good at remembering a lie. I mean, there's a saying, if you want to be a good liar, you need to remember your lies. Because if you don't remember your lies, you're not going to be a good liar. You know, so when he says stuff like, you know, I'm giving my purse away to this, that, and the other, and just pretends to leave it, and that's it. And it's like, well, you said that, so who'd you give it right to? Tyson has turned his back on his Irish roots. Listening to the IFL interview with Peter Fury before the Klitschko fight shows how much he cares. He changed and became a sellout, and Peter hates that. What I do not like about the Fury interview is it was as if AJ he would get ripped apart. But when it's Fury, it just seems to be forgotten about. Oh, if it was AJ, it would get ripped apart. No doubt. Would you like to see fourth match with Wilder Tyson? I personally like to see Wilder knock Tyson out. I've seen it 3 times, so probably not. But I think if we do see it again, if we did, and Wilder has if he fights Ruiz, beats him convincingly, and stays in around the way he is, I'll put it like this, right? I really do think, I'm not saying he would have won, but if Wilder had come in 215 for the trilogy fight, it could have been a very different fight, in my opinion, because Wilder was blowing after the first round. I don't think he would have been blowing, and I think he would have been a lot more nimble, and I think he would have had a lot more success if he'd have been lighter in that fight. Just my opinion. He's been slagging Tommy and John off all these years, especially regarding Jake Paul. Maybe Fury was reluctant from the start. Well, that's a fair point. Benavidez at UFC. I didn't think of him. Oh, against Benavidez, he'd get ironed out, I think. Oh, good question. How far you see Ramirez going featherweight? He's become one of the top 5 today. He had a rocky start to his pro career. He definitely did. But he's settled now. And I think he is looking fantastic. I'm really excited about Robeisy Ramirez. He had a rocky start, but he's looking a lot better now. I don't know if it's just me, but I like watching Wilder fight. I love watching Wilder fight. It's not just you. I flipping love him. And that's the reason why, as you say, it's exciting. Which young fighters is one to watch? Paddy Donovan. Give him a look. Paddy Donovan is one to watch. I'm telling you now, he's a good up-and-coming fighter. I'm excited to see him progress. And shout out to Dell. Big up to Blue Collar. Garrett A. Davis on IFL was embarrassing. Garrett A. Davis, I don't know. I've seen Garrett A. Davis in person. He looks even stranger in person. Usyk's ring IQ and Fury's height. Dave Allen banter. Oh, man. The optics of Hearn doing interviews with Coogan Woods and 18-year-old Parsons, who talks like a child, is horrendous. The obvious spin of using these 3 for interviews looks so bad. Yeah, and I think people, like, that's one thing I don't think Eddie Hearn took into the consideration. And we're not stupid. We obviously know Laura Wood works for the Zone, so she's hardly going to be impartial in New Age's Killer Instinct. My man is leaking. Who do you think is the best Irish fighter of all time? Jimmy McLaren. I know his name. His name always escapes me, but he beat Benny Leonard. He beat Benny Leonard. He beat Benny Leonard, I think it was 1936. That's Jimmy McLean. I know how you pronounce. I know his name. I know who it is, but Jimmy McLaren. I was right. It was McLaren. Yeah, he's the greatest Irish of. There is no doubt in my mind. Never mind Steve Collins. Jimmy McLaren. Look him up. Best of all time. Jimmy McLaren. Look him up. Big up the hat man. Big up the hat man. I subbed to him on Patreon when he first started. I remember Robert McGabby. That was his first ever episode. I've been subbed to him since then on Patreon. Usyk is one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion. That good. I can't wait to see him prove it against Fury. Where do you even start, man? I would love to see. Do you know what I would love to see? It's never going to happen. But I would love to see judges have to attend an open press conference after a fight, regardless of the outcome, and explain round by round their scorecard. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that implemented in boxing. Because I'm guaranteeing you, we wouldn't see as many dodgy decisions if that was the case. What 3 fights would you pick for AJ to get his confidence back? Would love to see AJ Fury, but in another way, as an AJ fan, I'm glad that it didn't happen, as I think he would get battered. Joshua, I would be saying, come back against Chris Arreola, then fight Dylan White, and then Otto Wallin. Or I'd take a risk. This could be a risk, but I think it's an educated risk, and it's a risk worth taking. Take Kabayel, because he's just inactive enough to probably be okay. So I do that. I would do it in that order, because I think they're just dangerous enough that you could pay-per-view them. Probably not Chris Arreola, but you could pay-per-view the other 2. And I think by the time the 3rd fight comes along, he'll be in a much better place. What you make of 10 grand bet with Fish Eyes, bringing the money to the press conference? Tyson did it. Tyson giving it to charity. Absolute put on. I didn't even see it, mate, to be honest with you. Can you imagine? No, I can't. I can't see it. I can't see it. I cannot envision that at all. Yeah. D.A.H. Davis. How far do you think Johnny Fisher can go? Another knockout on Saturday. Look could, but I worry about him stepping up due to his lack of amateur experience. I seen it, but I only glanced. I didn't get to see the full fight. He needs a lot of work. I mean, he's only a year pro. I think he needs a good 18, 24, which would be 2 years, months, to be honest with you. Do Tyson's views reflect his dad's view? I think he did. I think so. And Frampton just said he didn't. And Frampton's a good pundit, so I thought that was silly from John Fury to square up to Frampton like that. Jamie Conlon saying Michael is fighting for a world title in March. I'd say the WBO vacant against Dogbay. A featherweight. WBO vacant a featherweight. Suppose Navarrete moving up. Then that would probably be it then. And I'd probably I seen someone, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets I wouldn't be shocked if they take a risk with Rebasi and put him in there with Conlon for that title. I'm telling you now, I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they're going to do, because I think Bob Arum has given up on Michael Conlon, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see Rebasi versus Conlon next year, actually. Now that I think of it, Navarrete's fighting at 130 now. Wouldn't shock me if Conlon goes in there. And he's not earned a crack at a world title either. But wouldn't shock me if they put him in with Rebasi. Top Rank are trying to sell him. And I'm telling you now, he beats Conlon. Garrett A. Davis is always embarrassing. A friend of mine has been at shows with him and says he likes a beer or 10. Yeah. He definitely, I seen him in person and he looked every bit as I was just like, damn. I was like, Jesus, that's not a sight I want to see twice. What do you think about Zepeda? William Zepeda. I didn't get a chance to see any of the cards in the Golden Boy show the other day. I'm going with Azim. I think Charlton is very good, and he should give Azim a tough time, but I think Azim is just too young and fresh. Fury will not have a good legacy. Who would you say is your favourite Scotland fighter of all time? Good question. I do like me some Josh Taylor. And he's been one of my favourite fighters for a while. So I'm going to go and say Josh Taylor. On Hatman's Patreon since 29, completely changed my perception of the world. My perception of the world was always quite similar, but I kind of needed someone to explain it more to me, which is what Hatman's been doing over the last 5 years. And it's been brilliant listening to it. Especially the last 2 years, he's come into his own on Patreon. He really has. And honestly, the last 2 years have been very strange, but it's lit a fire under me, I'll tell you that. I mean, one that really governs. I don't think you'll ever get that, though, if I'm honest. Can we take Jake Paul serious in terms of eventually being a contender for any belts? No, I don't think we can do that, but he's done more. As I said in Review of the Week, there are fighters who have literally fought bin men from Slovakia, and they're 6-0 doing that, but yet they'll criticize Jake Paul. Like, you see the irony in that? Is True Geordie a good boxing analyst? I have no idea. I've never really listened to him on boxing. No. I wouldn't put him back in there with Zhang. I wouldn't. Not yet. Didn't Fury promise money to a fight brigade in the US? Then later, didn't he say it was his money and he decided how to spend it? That was such a big you-know-what. That whole giving money to charity is his Wilder fight purse. That was never going to happen. If you could pick an all-star commentary team, who would it be? Bring me Jim Lampley as the main commentator. I love Jim Lampley. I always have. And people, just a quick one. We have 153 in the building and only 52 likes. Smash the like button. Let's get this up to 100 likes. Jim Lampley is the main commentator. Love me some Jim Lampley. Right? Get someone on the team. Right? You're never going to get anyone as good as this guy. He's dead now, R.I.P. But get a Harold Letterman. That's what we need, because at the end of the day, the guys, and it's not the Zone or ESP, it's everyone. There's no one on any of these teams anymore who has experience of judging and knows the rules. I used to love watching HBO, and you'd get after it. I know Steve Weisfeld did a bit of work for HBO as well. So Lampley and a Howard Letterman type who's scoring the fights, because at the end of the day, a lot of the commentators, a lot of the guys, the fighters who they have eye help, but they're not the best for scoring. Get a Letterman on. Get someone, I know he's obviously dead, RIP, but get someone like him. Get Roy Jones, Barry Jones, the two Joneses. I'd like to see both them on. If you want a kind of Larry Merchant type figurehead, I never mind. Look, I'm maybe one of the few, but I never really minded Max Kellerman too much. Some people don't like Max Kellerman. I never minded him. I always thought he was okay. So maybe get Jim Lampley, Max Kellerman, Barry Jones. Literally, to be honest with you, I'm just saying get the HBO team, basically, because I loved the HBO team. But if Jim Lampley couldn't, get Andy Clark in. I think he's fantastic, does a great job. What was the best fight of all time? What was your best fight of all time? And also, what was your best round, only one round of all time? Which fight was it? Gary Ward round 9. Gary Ward round 9, best round of all time. The first fight. A fight that I could just go back and watch again is Hagler Hearns. I could watch that fight every day of the week and never get tired of it. G-Man, true Geordie thing, genuine? No, genuine, definitely. Tell us about the tattoo. Me, I don't have any tattoos. I never will have any tattoos. Perhaps the judges' scores displayed for all to see at the end of each round. No, they've tried that. I don't like that. Fury is not as intelligent as he presumes. He lies too much, too many holes. It's almost like he believes his own lies. So they don't underestimate that. There's a lot of people who will do that in the world. Josh Taylor, yeah, that'll happen again next year, I'd say. If you pick the Fury Chisora card, what fight would you put on it to make it pay-per-view worthy? Well, they're putting Daniel Dubois on as the co-main. I would pull Anthony Yard from the November 19 show and put him on there against a semi-decent opponent. I would like to, Frank, see, this is how I know it's not going to be a good card, because Frank is putting a lot of his guys on these cards that are happening earlier. But I would put Anthony Yard on that. I would put, can't remember his name now, but the guy who knocked out Bradley Skeet, I put him on because he's entertaining. Who else would I get? I put Raven Chapman on because she's always in good fights, to be fair. And I would get, what's his name? Is it Nick Ball? But he's fighting just before that, so again, you can't get him, unfortunately. What do you think of Jamie and Mike Collins' promotional shows, putting more shows on in Ireland? Well, they won't, because they were with El Chapahan, and El Chapahan had a big issue with putting shows on in Ireland, so I can't see that happening. U-Box G-Man, do you see anything in... Yeah, Jake Paul's got a decent right hand, but there's not much else really there. You know, he's not going to be a world beat or anything like that. It's a good interim fight for Fury. It's a good interim fight, but it shouldn't be pay-per-view, though. No way it should be ever pay-per-view. It should be a non-title fight on standard BT. What was the worst commentary team? I'd go for Garrett A. Davis, Steve Bunce, and Maya Jama. Yeah. I mean, Maya Jama's a cracker, I'll give her that, but she has no place in the world of boxing. G-Man, whoever matchmade Gil at the weekend needs to have a look at themselves. That's a common thing with Matchroom, isn't it? They've been doing that a lot lately, putting on real bad matches. Like, the matchmaking at Matchroom isn't good. I think we can all agree on that. Really bad matchmaking by Matchroom. Where are we at? Oh, I'm miles behind. Harry Carpenter and Lloyd Honeyghan commentating. Just Reg Guttridge and Jim Wash. That is just perfect. You know when you just get two people who just work together. Reg Guttridge, Jim Wash. R.I.P. to Reg Guttridge. What a commentator. Oh, the chicken's running from the hawk. Julian Jackson, remember that? That was when he fought, what's his name? I remember that. He gave the interview and who was it he fought? Who did he fight? Oh, his name is gone from me. At 154, he beat Ray Leonard. See, this is the thing. You watch boxing for so long, you start forgetting things about boxing. Who did Jackson knock out? Oh, it's gone. Best win on Jackson's resume. Best win on Julian Jackson's resume, and I can't remember his name. Oh, it's gone. Big up the fight sport talk. Big up G-Man. Tyson Fury is a sensitive child. It's quite embarrassing. It is. That was a good round. I'll give him that. Terry Norris, thank you. Terrible Terry Norris. That was it. I knew Joe Stunner would know that. Terrible Terry Norris. I know who it is, and I know because he's in a bad way. His speech isn't the greatest nowadays, but I just couldn't think of who it was. Terrible Terry Norris. And he schooled Jackson in that first round. Absolutely schooled Jackson. And then Jackson landed one right hand. That was it. That was crazy, that fight. That was on a Don King card. It wasn't on a Mike Tyson undercard. It wasn't on that. I can't remember what undercard it was on. But I remember that. I think Mike Tyson was actually was doing some he was doing some work at ringside because they interviewed Mike Tyson after that fight and they were like, Jackson did it in 2. That's a bit too late for you. You do it in 1. G-Man, I think it's good you're talking about Irish boxing. Seems like there's going to be a few decent shows coming up. Yeah, and I hope it continues, mate. I really do. You know, I don't go to many shows in Ireland, and if I do go, I go as a fan. It does me absolutely nothing to go as with media, to be honest with you. At this point, it doesn't do me anything. So I'd sooner just go as just a fan and enjoy it. I'd rather go to ones that have a lot more domestic dust-ups, and we're getting that a lot now, so it's looking good. It's looking good. It's just the problem is a lot of the shows clash in with other shows that I want to cover on here, so that's why I don't go to them. Do you think women will start watching women's boxing? Will they support Katie Taylor, Shields, Baumgardner, Meyer, Bridges? Hard to say, mate. I mean, I know plenty of women who don't like it. I was literally, you wrote it down there. The worst was Lara versus Warrington. I mean, what the hell was he thinking? That was just crazy. Often following USADA's work in the UFC, tainted supplements do exist, but eggs sound too crazy. I used to never believe tainted anything existed. Jamie Conlon was putting a show on in Galway. Kieran Malloy headlining before McCroy got the IB. Oh, really? Didn't know that. If you are having a tuna fight in November, isn't it too? Yeah, I suppose. Beating Gilgot was horrendous. He found his level and he's already got a ton of miles on the clock. Yeah, that's the problem, man. I mean, I feel bad for Jordan Gill in that sense. All narcissists are hypersensitive. G-Man, I think it was a good shout you had about putting more shows on Eurosport. I used to love their European content in the past. I think it's a good shout to put shows on terrestrial TV in general, mate. You know, I think that it's a great way of getting names out. And look, we are going to think of the fights that Channel 5 are going to put on. We are getting Josh Kelly versus Troy Williamson. You can't tell me that's not a good fight. That's a great fight. British title, and we're getting it on free to air. Cannot even be. I am delighted with that. I'm looking forward to that fight a lot. And I'm really excited about that fight. And Channel 5 have been putting on very good. They put Denzel Bentley versus Linus on during the summer. I thought that was a great fight. The more promoters start working with these stations like Eurosport terrestrial companies, the more their brand's going to get out, because it's not behind a paywall. You turn your TV on and it's there. It gets the fighters' names out. Carl Froch, Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank Sr. and Jr., James DeGale, just to name a few. They've all fought on terrestrial TV. And it helped them. No. Mike McCallum knocked out Jackson, the body snatcher. I love Mike McCallum, man. He was flipping. Oh, man. Mike McCallum, he was brilliant. Didn't True Geordie get Fury on his podcast before? I think he did now. Yeah. Mike McCallum was, man. Don Curry, that knockout. And that was such a bad knockout. Man, Mike McCallum was legit. He even said that, that went down a bit. That's the end of that. But he even said that Roy Jones was the greatest who he's ever fought at the time. And Roy Jones beat him at light heavyweight. I think that was that was definitely in the 90s, but yeah, Mike McCallum, I love the body snatcher. Jamaican, wasn't he? Pretty sure he was. When I heard Fury saying that Chisora was the best opponent, it really annoyed me. Oh, mate, seriously. Eddie is narcissistic and not sensitive. Watched the UFC for the first time the other day. They did quality panel listening commentary team, and if each had no more than 10 minutes between fights, really. I don't watch enough of UFC. I never really got into it, but they do a good job with production-wise. No, I don't think he beats Haney at this point. Big up, G-Man. Love the channel. Lara Warrington Tree. Who do you got? Lara. Do you DAZN online stream is a good thing? Do I think DAZN is a good thing? Yeah, I love DAZN. I still pay it every month. Every month. Is the best fighter I've ever seen live. Oh, man. I wish I'd seen Mike McCallum live. God, I wish I'd seen him live. It has potential. Don't get me wrong. It has an awful lot of potential in there. I think that if Gorman comes in shape, it's an excellent fight. But I don't think he will. Because he's always struck me as a very lazy heavyweight. And I think if he came in shape, it's a great fight. But I don't think he will. 2 recent female fights were free on Sky and BT. Taylor versus Serrano and Shields Marshall. Yeah, the Shields Marshall one was free to air. So, hence the reason it done so many views. Yeah, I can't wait for it either. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Your review of the week. I know it did because I didn't get a thumbnail sent over in time, man. And I like to get them uploaded early. And I was like, if I don't get a thumbnail soon, I was like, I just have to recycle one. It is what it is. Like, I know, I knew when I was putting that up, it would say that. But look, it is what it is. Best knockout of all time. Also the best schooling of all time. Best knockout of all time. Best knockout of all time. It's a good question. Best knockout of all time. I would say Rocky Marciano knocking out Joe Walcott. Behind on all judges' scorecards in the 13th round. Lands a short right hand, knocks Joe Walcott unconscious. Best knockout of all time. Best schooling. Floyd, when he fought Marquez. Completely shutting down. I agree with Matt about the UFC. I remember having people around for Joshua Usyk 1 thinking it's only half-9. They might start the fight a little early and Sky talked on. Yeah, I know. I hate it when they do that. I flipping hate it when they do that. Man, McCallum was just best shock of all time. Like, obviously, we're talking about boxing as a whole, Tyson Douglas. But since I've been watching the sport, Jesus, what's the biggest shock I've ever had watching the sport? So I've watched that much boxing. I'm trying to think, what's the biggest shock I've had? I think, like, probably Joshua Ruiz. Even though I knew Ruiz was game and he'd be really, really good, how it went down shocked me. I just didn't see any of that. What happened in that ring that night, June 3rd, 2019, that shocked me. Because I was just walking around. I walked around the room. I was like, did that actually just happen the way it did? That was crazy. Been sub for a month now. Great channel. What's your thoughts on Sam Jones? All-time favorite boxer, Naz. Yeah, Sam Jones seems okay to me. I mean, some people rub him up the wrong way, and appreciate you enjoying the content, man. I appreciate that. Favorite all-time boxer is Naz. I'd probably say Roy. Roy is probably my favorite. Jones, love Roy Jones. Do you think Box can pick us up from the gutter next year? Well, one of the good things about 2022 being not a good year for boxing is that it's very hard to outdo it. I don't think they can outdo this year in terms of you know what. Yeah, Calzaghe Lacey is another good one. I don't really do pound for pound, mate, to be honest with you. I never really do it. I'd say Usyk #1. Usyk Crawford anyway, whatever order you want. Quick fire question. What's your dream boxing matchup that never happened? Any era, any weight. Lewis versus Bowe. I would have loved that fight. I would have given Bowe a good chance in that fight. I would have picked Lennox Lewis, but oh yeah, man, that was serious. That was bad. That was bad. Long, man. I only started doing watch-alongs last year. So 2 years. I only started doing them last year, literally. One of the worst KOs I've ever seen is Harper getting stopped. Yeah, that was bad matchmaking. Although I think she might have been a mandatory, though. She might have been a mandatory. No, don't say that. Don't say that. No. It's happening. It's flipping happening, man. It's happening. It's happening. It is happening. You're going to like this. Did you see Hamilton getting booed in Mexico? Yeah, I did see him getting booed. I did. I don't like Lewis Hamilton. Do not like him. Don't like Lewis Hamilton. But I've seen him getting booed in Mexico. And I see Max Verstappen isn't speaking to Sky F1 anymore. And I think he's right to do it because Sky F1 are, apart from Martin Brundle, he's all right. They are so biased in favor of Lewis Hamilton. And it's crazy. Like, Max Verstappen has the quickest car, and they keep reiterating that. He's got the quickest car. As if the car does it all. But, like, Lewis Hamilton had the quickest car for, 5 seasons in a row? And it was always like, oh, great drive. It's like, they're so selective with praise. They won't give Verstappen any praise. He's the quickest car. That was the quickest car. And it's like, what if Lewis Hamilton did it? Oh, he's an all-time. He's greater than Schumacher. It's like, F off. You say about the lightweights not getting attention. How do you think that changes? HBO did it. We're doing it the right way with those Superfly shows. I miss them. They were good. I think we need more mainstream attention like that, where all little guys, but not just in Japan, obviously, because they do it over there all the time, but in Europe and in America. Yeah, I do think he should. The corner should have stopped that earlier. That's a good question. I would say right now, Bivol. I go with Bivol. I don't think Danny Williams should be anywhere near a boxing ring, and I think that it's a disgrace that commissions are still giving him licenses. I know the British Boxing Board aren't, but there's other people around the world who are giving I think it's a disgrace. I think it's shameful. And I think that this is only going to end one way, unfortunately, and it's not going to be good. A thank you to Joe Donnelly. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the 20 quid. It's much appreciated. It does help, man. Every little bit helps. It really, 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 really does. Every little bit helps. And that's not a little bit, by the way. That's a good bit. So I appreciate that again, man. Always good to see you live. I appreciate you, man. I really, truly do. I appreciate that a lot. People, I've got on for just over an hour. I know a few other guys are doing a live now at the minute, and I don't really want to be taking the numbers too much away from them. So I know Love Boxing TV they normally go live about 7 on a Monday, so I don't want to take too much of their time away and, you know, have them all over here. So people, I'm going to call it there. Before we do, I have it pinned at the top of the chat. It should still be there. Joe Stunner Boxing. Go over to Joe Stunner. Give him a like. Give him a sub. Give him a sub more importantly. Because Joe at the start of this stream was 15 subs off 1K. He was 15 subs off 1,000. So 122 of you guys in the building. Surely some of you aren't subscribed. Pop over. Give him a sub. Let's get him up to 1K. Because it is a hell of a good feeling when you hit 1K, mate. I'll tell you that. So Joe Stunner Boxing on YouTube. Pop it in. Give him a sub. For now, lads and lassies, I'm going to call it there. Smash the like button on the way out. Let's get it over 100 likes. Over 100 likes, hopefully. And yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Got more videos planned. Bivol Ramirez, that'll be out tomorrow or Wednesday. And yeah, we will work. Whatever comes up, you know me. And when I'm off, because I'm off tomorrow, so I've got plenty of time to record. It's going to be a recording frenzy. To all those who've subbed, much love to you all. Big up to you, man. I'll talk to you all, people. Peace.